Hey, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another Pokemon TCG Tabletop gameplay. This is going to be from round 2 at a Pokemon League Challenge tournament in real life, of course, where we are playing Miraidon box versus Raging Bolt. And we're going to be watching it back in about 25 to 30% faster playback speed, just so this game will be a little quicker. Huge announcement, the friends over at Endgame are having their 1-year anniversary sale where all sleeves are buy one, get one free. And you can use my code on top of that as well, code SneakerTalk. So celebrate with Endgame, get a lot of sleeves for a really good price, and I'll leave them linked down below. Of course, if you buy any sleeves, it does support the channel directly. This is the first time they've ever done a sale this big, so make sure you guys stock up. And without further ado, let's get into some gameplay. All right, so for this game, we are going to be going second. I believe we won the coin toss, and I decided blind second for this just because it's always super safe going blind second for a lot of matchups. All right, we're playing against the Teal Mask Ogerpon to kick things off. We got our Squawkabilly in the active as well. So it looks like we're going to have at least a solid start with the help of Squawk. We're going to see 2 Raging Bolts hit the field, and this is also a subscriber we're playing against, and this subscriber is also using Endgame sleeves as well, so shout out to them. I forget if they're using the Omega ones or the Genesis ones, but for this particular game I'm using the Poppy Red Omegas. And here we see the Ultra Ball get used, discarding the Slitherwing and the Boss's Orders. Some pretty painful discards to kick things off, but you do want to get a really good turn 1, especially as Raging Bolt. Now I'm not sure if we're playing against the the Noctowl version with a Hoothoots and Noctowls. I find that is becoming the more and more common way for a lot of Raging Bolt players to be playing their deck. So of course you can go second and have a strong start, and then play Sada and potentially swing into the active and knock out a 2-prize Pokemon. Or if you're going first, it just allows you to have that very strong consistency of getting Fan Rotom and get your Hoothoot outs and your Noctowl. So we're going to see an Ultra Ball for the Squawkabilly EX on this opening turn. And I also like their playmat too. They got Latias and Latios. I don't know what playmat I'm going to use when I play my Toxic Mega Latias deck. And we're going to see the Squawk and Seize ability discarding a Sada. That is a painful discard for this deck. But let's see if it's going to be worth it in the end for them on this opening turn 1. Now, one thing that Raging Bolt has going for it against this Miraidon deck is we don't really have too many like very much targets, at least right now, right? We only have Squawkabilly that's weak to electric, and other than that, they have a bunch of big HP basic Pokemon like Teal Mask, like Raging Bolt, like Mew. All right, so another Ultra Ball is getting played. Looks like they're discarding another Teal Mask Ogerpon, I believe, and the Iron Hands EX. So a little painful for their start right here, and they're gonna get a Miraidon. Okay, very spicy, very spicy. We're gonna see a tandem unit as well. Let's see what they grab here. Joltik. Okay, so this is like a Joltik box with Raging Bolt together as one. Pretty cool. Okay, I've seen something like this on Twitter the other day, and definitely an interesting list. Going first for them is looking very, very painful. Any deck that is playing like Joltik box in any sort of variation really wants to rely on that turn 1 attack going second, the Jolting charge. And we're going to see a Mew restart for 1 here. And they have 1 bench spot open here. So will they fill it up? Will they get a Latias EX on board for the retreat? And no, they're going to pass the turn right there. All right, let's see how we do for turn 1 here. We're going to play Ultra Ball, discarding 1 Lightning Energy, and I got to think about this one. This might be painful here. Ooh, a Boss too. So both players are now down a copy of Boss's Orders in their deck. We don't play Palpad, so if a Boss hits the discard, it is very painful. Here I am doing my prize checking. Of course, my typical way for prize checking. I don't know about you guys, but I typically put all the Pokemon to the front, and that way I can see which of my Pokemon are going to be able to evolve or not, such as my Dynamos, my Magnemites. And then I'm also going to look for what attackers I'll be able to use Tandem Unit on. And then from there, I look for the one-of copies. Things like Super Rod, things like Prime Catcher, how many bosses are in the deck, All very, very important information we want to play around, especially if we're going to make some painful discards earlier in the game, like discarding something like a boss's orders. So always important to prize check, especially at league challenges or paid tournaments. I don't prize check too hard usually, because my game plans are pretty straightforward for the opening turns, but you don't want to get punished for, you know, discarding something and then feeling bad about it later. So always try and do some prize checking, even if it's just for a couple of cards. It always pays off in the end. So we have a Dynamo and a Iron Hands EX, and then we still have our Squawk ability as well. So discarding that boss's orders is no big deal at the start, just because we know we're going to use Squawk and Seize anyways. We're going to get the Air Balloon attachment onto the Dynamo, and that's always important because all of our Pokemon are basic. So we have Latias EX Skyliner's ability to do our free retreat actions, but when Dynamo evolves, it does have a 2 retreat cost. So Air Balloon on the Dynamo, getting it ready for its evolution to Electric is very, very important. Then we have 2 cards left. We got the Hand Attach. Oh, we're going Prime Catcher here. What are we Prime capturing up? Let's find out. So we have Squawk, which is an easy Pokemon. We could potentially just use Iron Hands for Arm Press to knock out, rather than trying to go for a big Ampy Very Much on something like a Joltik. So we're going to use, we're going to discard the Super Rod as well. So we only have 1 Super Rod, so no recovery in this deck available for the rest of the game. And Squawk and Seize looking pretty good. We got a Nest Ball here. That's going to be very, very important to potentially set up something like another Magnemite, or get a Latias or a Mew EX for some additional draw power. So right here, we definitely want to take down this Squawk ability EX as that nice, easy takedown, easy to take down 2 prizer. We're not going to overextend and try and go for like a 3 prize turn with Ampy Very Much. What we want to do here is basically go 2-2-2. So if we can take the first 2 with hands here, Miraidon ends up being a huge attacker in the Raging Bolt matchup. Miraidon being able to force your opponent to discard 4 energies because it's 220 HP is really, really good. But not only that, you can take down Teal Mask, you can take down Fez, you can take down Mew EX. So once our Iron Hands is loaded up, we're definitely going to want to start charging up the Miraidon as well. And another fun thing to mention in this matchup is, I've actually done it quite a few times, you use your Mew EX genome hacking, and you can often either close out the game against Raging Bolt with either using genome hacking their Bellowing Thunder, or you use the typical Blood Moon Ursaluna. But yeah, Blood Moon Ursaluna is a goated attacker here, and we're going to play or Nest Ball out our Maractus, so giving us some sneaky control plays in this deck. We're going to play Generator, hit 2, and our Iron Hands is ready to take the first 2 prizes of the game with the help of that first big E-Gen. Now we did a lot of thinning so far, so the chances of us hitting 2 is pretty good. Here we go, Generator number 2. Are we going to get 2 again? And no, it whiffed. So it evened out 2 for the first, 0 for the second. But what matters the most is that we're able to initiate the prize race. All this matchup comes down to is pretty much 2-2-2, who can take those prizes as quick as they can. And of course, we're not playing something like a Pikachu EX in our deck, so we're going to have to rely on our 2 prize Pokemon to always put in the work, or we're going to have to rely on getting something like a Boss's Orders or a Prime Catcher. But I think for this particular version of the deck that we're playing today, I only had 2 bosses, and we discarded 1 already, and we discarded Prime Catcher already. So all that we have left for Gust might just be 1 last copy of Boss's Orders, and maybe a Counter Catcher. I'm not sure if we put Counter Catcher in this build, but I'll have my I have a recent Miraidon EX deck profile linked in the description down below if you guys want to give it a try. Not with the Mega cards just yet. I'll have my Mega Manectric list very, very soon, so if you're looking forward to see how I upgrade this deck with Mega Evolution, stay tuned. Tomorrow is Friday, and that will be the official day that Mega Evolution cards will be legal. So expect a lot of the tabletop content to also feature a lot of Mega cards. And here we go, Generator, we hit 2 once again. So an insanely strong turn 1. I forget if I didn't catch what we did with the Academy at night. I forget if we stacked an energy or if we decided to put something else on top so we could shuffle it away later. But hitting 2 is huge. Now our Miraidon is ready to go. So going 2-2-2 is not as hard as it would typically be. but we're 3 generators down, so do keep that in mind, I believe. All right, we're gonna go arm press for the first 2 prizes right there, and a big first 2 prizes. Not only that, our opponent no longer has area 0 available. They now have a 4 Pokemon bench with 1 Mew EX available. So they're gonna basically now have to choose between if they're gonna want to get like a Latias EX for free retreat or a Fezandipity. Now, if I was them, you probably want Fez, but it looks like they got a Teal Mask here. And we got a Night Stretcher, which might grab them back a Grass Energy so they can do some Teal Dancing here, get some additional draw power going. Now, another big thing to note here is they don't have, whatchamacallit, they don't have room for that, they don't have room for that Slitherwing, first of all, because our Academy of Night is on the board. But because Iron Hands is on the board without Latias, it is easily a target we can try and hit with a Boss's Orders kind of stall play. And potentially, if we're not able to easily take 2 prizes in an upcoming turn or so, we can always use Maractus's Corner, which is really good. So here they're going to promote the Iron Hands EX, which means we're going to have to work a little harder to take 2 prizes on this turn, because we have nothing available that can knock out the Iron Hands EX. That 10 HP difference is a huge deal here. Alright, we're going to start with an Academy at Night and play Professor's Research. We're discarding our Fezandipity, so that's really painful. We also discarded our Magneton as well. And I do want to mention that that is one of the best things about Academy at Night in a sort of turbo style of deck where we have many copies of Carmine, many copies of Professor's Research. We're able to not feel the full pain of discarding our full hand, because Academy at Night, of course, can save us some really good cards. You know, say we have to protect our Boss's Orders, we can protect it that way. So here, we're going to go with a simple arm press for 160, since we were unable to get around this massive wall that is Iron Hands EX. So we're just now 1 attack away for this Iron Hands to go down, and we can take 2 more prizes. Let's see what our opponent has in store for us today. Now, if they play something like a Professor's Turo scenario, that would be a really good way for them to steal away a full turn of damage from us. We're going to see Ultra Ball discarding the Slitherwing once again, and I can't tell what the other card is. Here I am actually grabbing his discard pile just to see what he is has used up so far. But yeah, if they play Turo, then they can steal this Iron Hands EX away from us and take it out of reach for a KO. On top of that, it's a little harder for them to find Turo, right? They're gonna have to get lucky and restart into it because they can't search it out. Typically, Raging Bolt, of course, can use Jewel Seeking, but there's no Hoots in this deck, so they can't go Jewel Seeking and take out the Iron Hands EX. And so let's see what they do here. We got the restart for 2. Gotta make a decision here. We're gonna see a Teal Dance for that Grass Energy onto that first Teal Mask Ogrepon, and Professor Turo's scenario does get played, so our full turn of damage is now basically ignored, and we got a Mew going into the active. They're discarding Iron Hands EX this time, the one that was just picked up for some Earthen Vessel action, so this will allow them to not only have more draw with the Wellspring, or the Teal Mask I should say, but now they have an extra bench spot open now, so they're going to have a little bit more flexibility in the plays that they make on their turns here. So just a quick shuffle up here. And here we go, a little cut action, and now we're down to a 3-card hand, and now we're still having a 3-card hand, but they have 2 Grass Energies on board. We got a hand attachment to the Raging Bolt, and now what is the play? They can only promote a 2-prize Pokemon in this scenario, and 3 of them have energies. So do they promote the Raging Bolt with no energies on it? Do they promote the Raging Bolt with energies on it? With the single energy on it? We're gonna see a retreat for this Mew EX, and I'm gonna take a quick drink of water here as he decides what he wants to retreat into. Alright, we're going with the Wellspring maybe, but you're just setting yourself up for disaster because I have Photon Blaster with Miraidon ready. Alright, so we're going with the safest option here, the Raging Bolt with 240 HP and a pass of the turn. Alright, we go ahead and draw for turn. And let's see what we can cook up here. We ideally want to evolve this Dynamo as quick as we can so we can start using our actual abilities to accelerate energies out of the discard pile. Because again, I think we're already down 3 electric generators. So we are pretty filled up with boards. We're filled up with energies on our side, which is huge. But if they take down these 2 guys right here, we're going to need a way to charge up our last attacker, or Blood Moon Ursaluna is going to have to like pop off with a big Blood Moon attack to close out. So here I am thinking about how I want to play out this turn. Doing some math here. And we have our last generator in hand here. So after this generator gets played, we are basically all in on our electric support Pokemon, such as Dynamo Electric, for example. And of course, if we really get in a bad position, we might have to go Maractus stalling here. But let's see what we do here. Are we going to attack with Iron Hands? And we're going to go with another Arm Press here. So, rather than giving our Miraidon, well, we can't because we'd have to retreat, attach and retreat, losing 4 energy. So, Arm Press was pretty much our only option here. Now we have a 3-card hand. Let's see what our opponent does here. Checking the discard pile. And I think they have a 4-card hand right now. 3 or 4-card hand. No, 3-card hand. They're playing Crispin here. So Crispin is huge. That is going to mean this Raging Bolt can now take some swings at us. So they're going to be able to basically put both energies onto the Raging Bolt and swing at Iron Hands EX. That would equalize us in the prize trade at 2-2. But then they're going to still have a Raging Bolt in the active that is susceptible to getting knocked out by our Miraidon that's just waiting for it on the bench. Alright, so we got the hand attach and the Crispin attach. We have the Mew restart for 1 here. How impactful will that draw be? Of course, it does feel awkward, you know, not playing a Sada to get additional draw, but still, you know, being able to get that additional energy attachment from Crispin is very important to just keep them in the game here. Alright, he's deciding what we're going to do, and we're going to attack with Raging Bolt's Bellowing Thunder for a massive 280 HP to knock out our Iron Hands EX. So easy decision for us. We're just going to promote the Mew EX. We have Ultra Ball to discard, the Counter Catcher, and Carmine. Okay, so we do play the Counter Catcher in our list for this video, but Counter Catcher is a dead card in this matchup as long as we're taking those first 2 prizes. So we're going to grab a Electric with the Ultra Ball and use Tandem Unit to grab out Tapu Koko. And Tapu Koko is a phenomenal attacker, super heavily underrated. Not only can Tapu Koko steal turns away with paralysis, but using Tapu Koko to attack would also mean we can still have a 220 HP heavy hitter on the bench in Miraidon EX. Because our opponent did take a knockout on the last turn, Tapu Koko, instead of swinging for 30, is going to swing for 120 plus paralysis. Now, the paralysis is usually the big thing here, in that, you know, nice damage to set up a 2-hit KO, but it only needs 2 energies, similar to how Raikou V only needed 2 energies for that lightning round that we always liked to use back in the day. And now we have a Tapu Koko for 2 energies, able to swing into this Raging Bolt for the knockout. We're going to use Academy at Night to stack our deck legally. And now we have a Carmine. So again, we discarded Boss's Orders, so that's kind of insane. We now have no Ways to Gust in our deck, but that's fine by all means for us, because we pretty much know our opponent is going to likely have to attack again with the Raging Bolt on this upcoming turn. Hopefully, that's like what we're trying to go all in here for. Whatever card we saved must be really important. It might have been the Blood Moon Ursaluna in our deck. All right, here we go. Mew gets promoted. And let's see how they respond on this turn. But it's not looking good for our opponent because, again, we have Miraidon with the Photon Blaster attack that can easily knock out anything that's not a Raging Bolt in this particular scenario. And we did get to stack our deck, so if we did get hit with an Iono or something like that, we will have our card nicely prepared for us. Alright, so flip the script for 3. Let's see if that's going to be a meaningful draw. We got a Teal Dance for 1 energy, and we're going to need to see 3 energies on the board. So we're going to need to see a Lightning energy on this Raging Bolt if the Raging Bolt is going to want to take a return KO, avenging its comrade in arms on our 210 HP Tapu Koko. Alright, we got the Earthen Vessel getting played, discarding the other Joltik in the deck. We got a Grass Energy, and are we going to see a Lightning? We need to see a Lightning for this Raging Bolt to attack. Double Grass, okay. So we might need to see something like a Night Stretcher for this, or maybe they have Lightning Energy in hand, but they can't attack with the Raging Bolt unless they have a Lightning Energy. So here's the second Teal Dance hitting the board. And now we're going to reconfirm with our discard pile what resources have been used. And it looks like they have the separate pile for energies, which looks like one grass, but I'm pretty sure there might be some more energies underneath. He's going to just reconfirm what Tapu Koko does. In this scenario, it's just a 210 HP vanilla Pokemon at this point. But because it is 210, does mean you only need to discard 3 for that perfect math hit onto Tapu Koko. So we got it. Ooh, Sada. All right, there we go. We got a grass and a fighting. So now they're able to swing here. There's 3 for the draw. And now we can see a return KO with Bellowing Thunder to take down our Tapu Koko. So our response in order to knock that out. Oh my god, they got another Lightning Energy as well for turn from that draw. Our response here is we're out of boss's orders. So we have that one Mew EX prepared on the bench with a Lightning Energy. So if they were to attack with a Raging Bolt, all we need to do is attach for turn. And I'm checking out how many generators we've used. We've used all 4. But all we need now is for a game is an Energy, a Dynamotor, and we win the game if we Genome Hack here. So here comes the Bellowing Thunder, discarding both Grass and a Lightning, knocking out Tapu Koko. The prize race is now 2-2. We're going to promote Electric, draw for turn. We're going to use Dynamotor to accelerate 1 to the Mew. We got a Hand Attach, retreat, our opponent extends the fist, and that is the game. Thank you guys for watching. Click on screen to watch some more Pokemon Tabletop action, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.